name's Haley Allen. I'm from Toronto originally. I started cooking honestly as a way to help out in the family. We always all had to do chores and pick our chores, and helping in the kitchen was my preferred chore. Also developed a passion for preventing food waste because my mom often had odds and sods of things in the fridge that wouldn't get used or would go bad. So I started creating my own meals with those things and finding random ingredients and figuring out a way to make them taste good all together. As well, my grandmother was an amazing cook. But she wasn't originally. She grew up in Vancouver and had people cooking for her whole life. And when she married my grandfather Wiggs, there's this story that she made him a macaroni casserole bake, but didn't actually pre-cook the macaroni, and he almost broke his tooth. And from that day on, she willed herself into becoming an excellent home cook, completely self-taught through Irma Rombauer's The Joy of Cooking, which every chef knows is an all-American classic. And by the time I came around, she was this incredibly talented, accomplished home cook, and she had an incredible garden. They lived on a 100-acre farm, so that was one of my favorite places to spend time as a kid, was just in the garden with my grandma, picking what was in season, helping grow everything, and in the fall, preserving everything so it lasted through the winter. I kind of fell into it. So I started cooking as a summer job in between years of university. I went to Western in London and studied psychology and neuroscience. But I do remember when I was young, my mom took me to a speaker, and their main thesis was find something you love to do and figure out how to get paid for it. And that really stuck with me at the time. Being 12, I was like, I'm gonna be a professional ski racer before the realities of that set in. But that message always stuck with me. And I found when I was in university, I love school. I'm a big school person, but I couldn't picture myself working in a hospital every day or in a lab doing research, and I really fell in love with the kitchen life through work. After working for a few years, I did do my Red Seal Chef Apprenticeship at George Brown College in Toronto, which is a program for kids who have been already working in the industry just to get some accreditation, and that was totally valuable. In fact, I loved it. I was, again, a big nerd. They offered me a job as soon as I graduated to actually teach there. Decided I needed to pursue my actual career before I got into teaching, but that would be how it all started, I guess. So at the age of 24, I came back from a summer working in BC, where I now currently reside. And I started at this restaurant basically out of convenience. It was close to our place. And I started there as the grill cook. Within a few months, I was the sous chef there and worked my way up to being head chef within the next few months. It was honestly just because I worked the hardest. I was there the longest. As a sous chef, I was essentially running the restaurant anyway by managing inventory, doing hiring and firing and training, and everything in between that comes with running a restaurant that isn't cooking related. And the managers and owners really recognized that I was kind of already doing it. So the head chef was ready to go, and it was basically a natural progression from there. The restaurant industry is, people are talking about it more and more these days. It is a tough lifestyle. It's long days, late nights, 6 or 7 days a week. And especially when you're running a place, there's really no time off. I would come home and I'd have dreams about calamari, honestly, cooking nightmares every single night. And at that point in time, I felt I had learned what I could learn from that restaurant. So I left just to go on an adventure to Asia and explore myself. So after Asia, I moved to BC and started working for the #1 lodge in North America. And it was the #1 lodge in the world for 4 years as well. And that really introduced me to the world of luxury cooking and doing these high-end things for people on their vacations, and was an incredible learning opportunity again. My business is luxury vacation catering. So I travel where my clients would like to go and provide high-end fine dining for them wherever they are. It all started completely organically. I've been requested to do a Christmas Eve and Christmas night dinner for a client, and they had their boss over for dinner. And he ate one canapé and then turned to me. You know, these business people, they're very direct. He goes, "What are you doing in March? I want you to come cook for my family in Whistler for 10 days. And it was my first foray into luxury vacation catering, and I've loved it ever since. He's been a major supporter. In fact, I'm working for him again this March for, I think, our 10th trip that we've done together in 4 years. We've gone to Whistler, Revelstoke, Manhattan, Ontario, and sometimes he even cooks for me, which is nice. But it really was one person who has then referred me to a lot of my other clients and really supported me and believed in me and just loved what I did from the get-go. And I'm really lucky to have had that opportunity. And I can't see a world of going back to restaurants after that. When I have things coming up, I definitely do a lot of prep. I like to make gorgeous bone broths that I can use as a foundation for a bunch of different dishes. I always have some fermentation projects going on and love to bring those ingredients as just something extra I can use, whether it's, you know, a homemade cultured butter or a homemade vinegar that's flavored with something, you know, just those little things add so much to me being able to do a great job, because those things take time, you know, you can't do them on the day that you're using them. So definitely a lot of prep, always staying organized in terms of keeping my equipment, you know, sharp and ready to go is a big part of it. And yeah, the business side of things, client outreach, client contact, and always making sure to try to be on the marketing piece, which is the one thing that I say I would struggle with the most, is social media, but working on it for sure. But yeah, there's always a lot to be done. Yeah, most of my clients are kind of no holds barred type ethos. They let me spread my wings and fly is literally a direct quote from especially a few of my favorite clients. And of course, every client has different requests, different dietary requirements, and I will tailor everything around that, but every menu is custom curated to the individual group and where we are, what we're doing. I don't use recipes at all. I use recipes for baking and pastry and stuff, but for cooking, it's all just coming from up here. It's mostly just a combination of techniques and good ingredients. Where I source my ingredients depends on, again, where I'm cooking from, but it's always super important to have the best quality seafood and meat. And if that has to come from a bit more local to where we are, but then I will prepare a bunch of little accoutrements that I bring with me. And so, yeah, I don't travel lightly when I do these jobs. I have multiple bins of tools and then more bins of funny little ingredients that I have to carry around with me. But yeah, the sourcing is an extremely important part of it, having good resources. And that's been tough. You know, sometimes you're going to cook in New York City, and, you know, no one cooks in New York City. So there's one grocery store. So you have to kind of always go to the bodegas and Eataly and Whole Foods and figure it out as you go. And that's one of the unique challenges and parts that I really love about doing this is every time I go to a new place, I have to find those sources on the ground when I'm there. And you can explore online, of course, beforehand, but yeah, it's a fun, unique challenge. I find the Okanagan a pretty inspiring place to be. We have a ton of beautiful produce in the season, and I do really think that's important, working with the seasons, working with things when they are in their best, purest, most high quality form. I'm inspired by nature, and I'm inspired by other chefs for sure. I really love Renee Redzepi. I've never seen someone get so excited about seaweed, you know, just anyone who really has a passion for cooking. You know, there's something to learn from every single person you interact with. And I've honestly learned a lot through working with dietary requirements as well. Just how to make things taste really good in non-traditional ways has been a great learning curve. But yeah, I'm always seeking inspiration, and even thinking about maybe, traveling this summer to go find more, maybe go to the south of France or something and get re-inspired. I want to say that I have a concrete source, but it's mostly just what looks good. Like, I will make a plan in my head, but I will pivot that plan if I go to the fishmonger and he's got some beautiful diver scallops. Like, I will switch the menu based on what ingredients are available and what are the best quality ingredients. It wasn't super hard for me because I'm a pretty motivated and independent person, and I really like to be in full control, almost to a fault. So I'd say that I was pretty well suited for it. Restaurants are great that you have someone telling you what to do, but you're also working with these minute food cost percentages, and you're limited to a menu that you have to recreate every day, and you can have specials and whatnot, but it's often kind of rinse and repeat. So yeah, becoming my own boss was the best thing I ever did for myself. Of course, COVID was a challenge for everyone in all walks of life, no matter what. I don't think that was unique to me, but that was something that I had to wrap my head around and tell myself, this isn't your fault. It will get better, and it's been totally fine. And we ended up doing more domestic trips, and that's how we worked around that. Other challenges, as I mentioned, the social media, not super great at that. But in university, I also studied business, so that part came naturally to me as well. It's not just about making food, of course. There are the other parts that contribute to the whole. But I did think, I like working for myself, and now I work for my clients, so I still do have kind of a boss, but they change every week. The only non-cooking tool that I run my business with is a computer. And so of course, TrulySmall invoicing has been very helpful to invoice my clients and have everything all neat in a tidy little package. They just open it up, it sends automated reminders, so that's great. But other than that, I've WordPress. I learned how to build a website, did all of that on my own. I think the limitless creativity, honestly, is every day is unique. Every dish is unique. When you're spending 20 days a year with someone and you're cooking them 6 courses a night, like, all of those courses are different. And then the next year it has to be different. So I am challenged to constantly be pushing, constantly be creating, constantly coming up with ideas of things. Sometimes my brain hurts, but that's why it is really great just to work with the ingredients that look the best. And then that's where I do get inspiration from. But yeah, having no budget to get the highest quality ingredients and pair it with the perfect wine for each course and just execute a flawless service is something that is definitely unique to this industry, this little niche I've carved out, and not the case in restaurant life, of course. So yeah, just the opportunity to use crazy, beautiful ingredients is inspiring in itself. Yeah, all my clients have been through word of mouth, and that's why I'm not too worried about the marketing thing, is because I'm not finding clients on Instagram. It's nice to have as, some credibility and stuff, but all my clients have been directly through word of mouth. And yeah, advice to other people, I'd say, a lot of people can cook a beautiful 10-course dinner. That's not unique to me. My unique value proposition is I am trustworthy. It's a very important thing. You're living with people in their homes or vacation homes. Trust is a huge part of it. And being personable is a huge part of it. Being someone that people want to have around while they're on vacation. And, you can actually add to the atmosphere and also know when to give people time and space. And I think those qualities are something that, you can be a successful restaurant chef without having those things. but you can't do what I do without being, you kind of become part of the family in a sense when you spend Christmases and New Year's and birthdays with everyone and go heli skiing. And, it's, you have to be engaging and positive and a good role model for their kids and someone who they're happy to leave their kids alone with and leave their, 6-figure watch on the table. It's more about just the food. It's about the experience. I mean, the secret for me was just to create a culture of empowerment and independence, as opposed to often in restaurant kitchens, chefs motivate by, belittling people or being rude. That's not how I ran the restaurant. Every morning or every afternoon when everyone would come in, I'd make them their favorite coffee. We'd have a brief conversation of things that needed to get done that day, and then I would let them go and do it. And I wasn't breathing down their necks. And then by the time service came around, we were all operated as a well-oiled machine. But the main thing is that everybody is different. Everybody has different strengths, weaknesses, dislikes, likes, and everyone has different personalities. And you have to work with those personalities. And I mean, my dad always used to say, it's not treating people how you want to be treated, it's treating people how they want to be treated. And that has always stuck with me and has proven beneficial. I think even though at that time, I was the youngest person in the kitchen, but I was running it, I still could create that culture of mutual respect and mutual appreciation. And people appreciate being appreciated. And you get more bees with honey than with vinegar, or whatever that saying is. But it's really true. Treat people like people and they will be good to you. And when I left that restaurant, every single kitchen staff left at the same time because they didn't want to work if I wasn't running the kitchen. So it just speaks to how a little kindness can go a long way. That's tough, but it'd probably have to be another chef. And probably Massimo Bottura. When I was at George Brown, he did this visitation thing. So we were apprentices. So they siphoned us off to the back buildings and said, you guys can't meet him. But then that Sunday I was working brunch at the AGO and I saw my dean walk in for brunch. So I said, okay, I'm gonna make him a little amuse-bouche for him and his party in the private room. And of course I get into the private room with the amuse-bouche and who's there but Massimo Bottura. And he stands up, grabs my hand, shakes my hand, looks me in the eye, and is so appreciative. And he's just one of those bubbly personalities. And I'm just a green little chef at this point, bringing out a brunch amuse-bouche, which is had some edible flowers and whatnot. But the time of day that he gave me was life-changing for me. And I'd love to sit down with him and chat more about how he got to where he is. It's a full day affair. We start the day with a big breakfast spread that has everything from fruit and yogurt to juices and toast. And then we do a hot breakfast in the morning as well. People have different tastes at breakfast. And so I find you need to have a lot of options for everyone to be happy. And then everyone goes out and does their activities for the day, whether it's heli skiing or going to the beach or work, whatever it is. And then we all reconvene in the afternoon, late afternoon, for kind of an après, whether it's après ski or après beach or whatever. So that will involve a custom cocktail. So I like to do rotating cocktail menus throughout the week as well, if the clients are into cocktails. And I find that really fun to experiment with as well. And a big spread of snacks, and then usually with some homemade fresh bread, something just to kind of fill people up while they can then relax and enjoy each other's company, go to the hot tub, whatever you kind of do in that pre-dinner time. And then dinner service always starts with canapes. Often guests would have it, they're sitting on a couch just like this one, and they're having their drink. And so canapes are served to wherever they are. And then, we go into a round of, usually it's at least 4 courses after canapes, but often 6 and up to 10. And it's, everything has to be perfectly balanced of each course has to flow into the next one. I'm very big on that. If they are contrasting cuisines or different flavors, I mean, obviously everything has to be different flavor, but they really have to flow together. And each course is paired with a wine as well. And then that involves me serving, clearing, cooking, and cleaning up at the end of the night. And when everyone is usually quite full and happy. That has to be the funniest one, I think, during a live Zoom cooking class for Cashew, making gnocchi for the actual 1000th time, at least in my life. I must have forgotten to prick one potato and went to cut into it, and boom, hot potato all over my face, in my hair, on my arms. It was terrible. And very painful, actually, but I think I rolled with it pretty smoothly, just kind of laughed it off. But it's, I think there might be a GIF out there on the internet of it now. It's a pretty typical chef thing to not cook for yourself when you're not working. I don't think I'm unique in that. I love, and this is gonna sound weird, but my favorite food is salad because you can put anything on it. And since I was a really, really little kid, I've loved vegetables, probably from my grandma's garden and stuff like that. But I used to walk around eating tomatoes and sweet onions like apples. Like I just was born this way. And so I have this like weird need to have something fresh and raw in kind of every bite. So salad is like perfect for that. I also love carrots to the point where my hands kind of turn a little orange sometimes because I cannot control my beta carotene intake, but I can almost see in the dark, but that also might be a wives' tale. But yeah, no, I love vegetables. And that's definitely, and fruit too. I mean, can't discriminate, but. So I skied like as soon as I could stand. My parents put me on skis. I'm really lucky for that opportunity because, you know, there's not much else to do in the dead of winter in Ontario. So if I hadn't had ski racing, I probably would have been pretty bored as a kid. Yeah, I was at the point where I was skiing 5 days a week and going to school for 2. So definitely got into the competitive aspect of it, and it's been such a great part of my life. Ski racing was a great way to learn very early on that you are the only one who's directly responsible for your success. So if my time wasn't where I wanted it to be, it means, okay, well, train harder in the gym. You need to do more laps in the course. You need to get more miles in. Be the first one out in the morning and the last one to go home at the end of the day. And other than that, like there's nothing anyone can do for you. You have to do it for yourself. I think that was a great lesson. And as an individual sport, it definitely fostered a healthy sense of competition. I've always been a fairly competitive person in terms of trying to get the best grades in school and I just think I was raised to just always try to do my best. So it's not necessarily competing with other people, but competing with my past self and trying to constantly improve. And yeah, ski racing has been a blessing. And now that I live in BC, as I said, I've had to learn how to ski all over again because big mountain skiing is completely different than skiing on ice back in Ontario. But it's still to this day one of my favorite things to do in life. And now it's more like ski touring instead of ski racing. But hey, we're all still learning and progressing. And yeah, love it. Absolutely. You have to be an extremely self-motivated person to be an entrepreneur. Especially, I mean, I started this business in 2018, so I really had like 2 years of free-for-all before COVID, and that could have easily crushed me. Things don't happen on their own. I mean, it sounds like it did from the first initial thing. It kind of started on its own, but it's a lot of work, and you have to want it. You have to have that drive. You have to show that you want it. And if I wasn't constantly improving, I don't think my clients would be around, right? And they recognize that I'm always trying to do better, always trying to impress them a little bit more, pull out more stops. And it's getting hard after they're all repeat bookings now. But yeah, that motivation, competition, just motivation, I think, yeah, is really important. Well, probably a Michael Pollan quote that's from The Omnivore's Dilemma. And it's just about, like there are a lot of fad diets these days and everyone's really conscious of what they eat. And I think that's important. But he says, eat food, real food, mostly plants. And that is the essence to a healthful life. And I think that one really resonates with me for sure. You can find me at www.chefhaleyallen.com, and @chefhaleyallen is also my Instagram handle, but they'll all be linked in the video below. Was it okay?